Hello everyone, this is James Rotondo with Fortify Systems, here to discuss the installation process of the PhatBlox product. As some of you are already aware, PhatBlox is an innovative product designed to provide a longboarder with the ability to adjust his or her ride. Our system allows for you to adjust the tension on virtually any longboard to either increase or reduce the board's overall flexibility. So let's go ahead and get started here. First off, we want to make sure that you've received all of your products. And in the picture here, you'll see that we have the cable, the blocks, all the screws, nuts, and washers that we would need available. The next step we want to do is make sure that we have in place all of our tools. And you'll notice that I've got a small grouping of hand tools here with a towel. Next, we're going to go ahead and start by taking off the trucks. I'm going to go ahead and use hand tools. Some of you might want to use some power tools. That's your choice. I choose to use hand tools simply based on the fact that I don't want to scratch up any of my parts. I don't want to possibly over tighten and pull a screw through the board or any of those types of things. So that's what we're going to do, is take off our trucks. The next thing I want to also point out is that we're going to save all of the original parts that we take off this board, because at some point you might want to take the PhatBlox system off this board and put it on a different board, and you should be able to go back to your original parts. There we go. As we take off the trucks, we want to kind of take note of what we're taking off and in what place. So this happens to be the front truck. Of course, you might want to note to yourself which direction your kingpin is going. And you'll also notice that I took off a deck pad, a truck pad. That's a small 1/4 inch. But again, we're going to go ahead and save those for future use. Now we'll take off the rear trucks. Again, I'm still using everything with hand tools. Sorry for the time that it might take, but in my case I feel that it's kind of worth it. Alright, and there we go. We've got both sets of trucks off, front and back, and we've got our riser pads off. We've taken all of our screws and nuts and bolts out. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the board and put it down here, and I'm going to go ahead and take the towel and I'm going to kind of clean it off. Especially if this is a board that you've been riding around a little bit, there might be some sand or grit, any kind of dirt or anything, so I'm just going to kind of buff out the spots. Make sure that I don't have anything that's going to mar the deck after the fact. Next, we're going to go ahead and take here some of the screws that came with the PhatBlox kit. Those screws are a little bit longer. They're very hard steel, so they're not going to break easily on anybody riding. And each one of those screws has a nylon self-locking nut. So I'm taking those nuts off here right now. I'm going to go ahead and put those bolts right back through the same holes that we took them off. I'm going to go ahead and put them through. We can go ahead and do them on both sides, right off the top. This part tends to pick up a little speed because the assembly process is fairly easy. You also note that PhatBlox comes in 2 different colors. I'm going to be using the silver blocks here, but there are some that are black. Also notice there I just took a look at the blocks. Each one of the blocks has a notation of which side the trucks go. Do you want the truck side to actually be sandwiched with the truck, not with the board? So we'll take note of that. So you'll notice we've simply put the bolts right through, we put the PhatBlox product on, and now I'm simply putting the nuts right back on to those bolts and reassembling the trucks. And I'll do this for the front truck, and I'll do this for the rear truck. I'm going to go ahead and put them all on, so that I'm just going to go ahead and tighten everything up once. See, there was that check again to find out which exact side was the truck side versus the board side. You'll notice that it's kind of handy. The board will stand itself up in some cases so that you can, when you put the trucks back on. Now we're just going to go ahead and tighten them down. We tighten these down pretty good. You might not want to crank it down totally as tight as possible, but you want to get it pretty snug. I'll explain why, because we're going to go ahead and do some adjustments with it after we reassemble it, but we want them pretty tight. All the PhatBlox screws do come to you as a 1/8 inch hex top. So you'll see I'm using an 1/8 inch Allen wrench versus a Phillips head screwdriver. Make sure I've got it all tight. Turn the board around and do the other end. Alright, so make sure that one's nice and tight as well. The next thing we're going to do is stand the board up. Got one more piece here. Just want to make sure that's tight. Okay. The next piece here